What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Spath. I'm a realtor here in the Treasure Valley with Keller Williams Realty Boise. And in today's video, I'm going to break down house hack numbers for you. I've been putting these videos out for several weeks now, guys, and the purpose of this is to just normalize people being able to get into homes much sooner than they may have anticipated they should. If you are anything like me, you were told that you have to buy a single family house with a conventional loan and put 20% down. So in today's market and in our Boise metropolitan area, the mean home price is a little over 500 grand. So what that would mean in terms of saving up a down payment is you'd have to be able to write a check for $100,000, which for most people is just unattainable. So if we're able to buy that same $100,000 property with an FHA loan and put only 3% down, we have to put a fraction of this money down than we originally thought we had to. And the great thing of buying a small multifamily property is we're able to use the rent from one half of a duplex to help us A, pay for the entire mortgage, and B, help us qualify for more house than we would be able to originally purchase. So let's dive into this. We're going to put in Ada County. If you've been following me for any time, you know that I'm a big fan of homes.com. It can give us normal folks a lot more information. It helps pull the rents from the MLS, and there could be some other information that's valuable. So we're going to click on multifamily. There's 37 of these guys. Okay, perfect. Here's one. Where is this location? Kind of West Benchish. So let's click on this guy. Let's see what we got. So 489, 83709, South Boise area, kind of the West Bench-ish. 2-car garage. Great rental income on the bench. Near BSU, low maintenance, fully fenced yard, 2-1. Both units have a 1-car garage. Tenants are on a month-to-month. Okay, so this is a great example. So we're gonna just plug these numbers in here. We're just gonna literally take the information from the listing and we're gonna plug it on this investment cash flow breakdown. So $489,000. As I mentioned, we're going to use an FHA loan to acquire this. So with the 3.5% down, we're only going to have to put down $17,000. Yes, there are going to be some closing costs, and we can get into that a little bit further in the video, but let's continue. So we see the taxes are $4,067. So $4,067. And then I just know from helping other clients that the property taxes are probably going to be a little bit less than this, but we're just going to roll with a little bit higher of a number because I'd rather be pleasantly surprised versus being pleasantly shocked. So let's see if we click this see MLS data. Let's see if we can get any rental information. Okay, perfect. So $29.75, it's a 2-unit. So we're going to live in unit 1, live here. We're going to rent this guy, number 2. So what did we say? $29.75 divided by 2. So they're getting about a little over $14.50 for the rent of this other unit. So when we come back up here, I've recently helped clients with FHA loans. I know they're going to be a little bit closer to 5.5%, kind of depending on your particular scenario. And then let's do a little bit of market analytics on this guy. So we see, looking at the listing, this one, how long has this guy been on the market? They've already dropped it about 10 grand. So 22 days. So when we pull over our market dynamics here and we look in this zip code, so this guy is $489,000. Perfect. So when we look at our market dynamics, we're going to look in this 400 to 500K range. We're going to get a little bit of information here. So this is going to tell us we have 1.1 months of inventory and the days on market is a little bit over a month. And it's going to tell us our sold to list ratio. So this is telling us that on average in this price point, in this particular zip code, that if we quit getting listings today, we would run out of inventory in a little bit over a month. And it's also telling us that properties are selling in just a little bit over a month. And we can expect on average to get a 1% either discount off of price, or we can use that 1% to help with closing costs, etc. So we're going to just assume that we can use this 1% and we're going to wipe this number out, right? That's something that we've been very fortunate in this market with all the clients that I've been able to help recently. We've been able to get a little bit of concessions that can A, help buy this rate down a little bit, and B, help with these closing costs. So we're just going to remove this number and assume that we're going to be able to get the closing costs of this guy covered. So as you can see, you're going to be able to purchase this almost $500,000 asset with a little bit over $17,000 out of pocket. Yes, you are still going to have a couple items. You're going to have an inspection on duplexes. Typically, this can range anywhere from $500 to $1,000, and then the appraisal, a couple $100 as well. So you're beyond this $17,000. You're going to have to come out of pocket an additional, we'll call it $500 to $1,500. So back on this guy, we see that we're purchasing this one for $489. We're putting 3.5% down. We're going to negotiate to get our closing costs covered, because as we saw with our market dynamics and this price point, the market on average is giving up 1%. We're going to hope that we can do a little bit better. And we're going to hope this for a couple reasons. One, when we look at that, we see that these guys sell for they sell in approximately a month. And this listing is getting close to that. And we've already had one 10K price drop. So it's a safe assumption that these guys are ready to offload this for whatever reason. Of course, if this was the property that we were going to pursue, we would want to call the listing agent and see if we could get any more information. Oftentimes with these duplexes as well, they don't want to give you access to the interior of the property until there is some type of accepted offer. And the reason behind this, you guys, is it says this guy is on a month-to-month lease. So if you're a property owner, you don't want people viewing the property a lot of times until there's an accepted offer, because it can kind of create uncertainty for the tenants, right? Put yourself in a tenant situation. If you are renting a property and there are potential buyers coming through, maybe they tell the person, hey, I'm going to house hack. I intend to live in this particular unit. And if you're that tenant and you're on a month-to-month lease, the likelihood of you wanting to stay in this property drops dramatically. Now it's planted the seed in your head. Hey, look, there's a high likelihood that we're going to be asked to leave because the new purchaser is going to want to occupy this unit. So that's why they want to wait until someone is a little more serious. And when we look, let's take a look at the property, kind of get an idea for the condition. Decent. Looks like it needs some standard work for this age. Nothing too crazy. Side looks a little bit older. So nothing major, right? A little bit of paint and floors would go a long way in this kind of property. So let's kind of dive in and see what this guy would cost us to live in. If we just kept one person in the one side and they were paying $1,473, when we come over here, we see that it's going to cost us about $2,000 a month to live in this unit, which may be a little bit higher than rent on average. Let's hop on one of my favorite sites, Rent-A-Meter, and just kind of plug the address in here and see what this is telling us. So we're just going to copy this address and we're going to plug it in Rent-A-Meter. And we're just going to say, let's say $1,700 just to see kind of where we're at. And this is an apartment, so we're just going to check the rents. So it's saying we might be a little bit high here. So here's the subject property. Okay, so 1400, 1500, 1565. Let's see, this guy's 900. Let's see why this one's getting a little bit higher rent. So we're just going to copy this address. We're going to come to Zillow and we're going to click rent. We're just going to literally plug the address into here and check the photos out. Okay, they're hiding them from us. Let's go to Realtor and see if we can find it. I'm going to click rent. So when I plug this guy in, it says it's a 1 bed, 1 bath. Looks like it's an apartment complex. Okay, so the apartment complex has amenities, it has a pool. So that could be the reason for them getting a little bit higher rent. Let's see, what's this guy about? Wonder if this is another apartment. So we're just gonna take this and we're gonna plug it in here on Zillow and see. Okay, looks like another apartment, this guy. So this is kind of showing you if you were to purchase this and you were to want to put some money into it and update it, you could achieve a little bit higher of a rent. But based on these couple that we looked at, I think we're pretty top of market for this property in this location unless we do some substantial renovations. You can see, I mean, it is a little bit different, right? Some people don't want to live in a large apartment complex. And if you're in a duplex like this, it's more similar to living in a single family home. And oftentimes people will pay more for this, but you can kind of see needs a little bit of paint maybe to get a higher rent. Floors possibly look decent. It's kind of hard to judge without walking the property. This guy definitely could use a little bit of refresh in here, but you get the point, right? Again, you can purchase something like this, $500,000 property, 3.5% down, and it's going to cost you $17,000 out of pocket, a little bit more when you factor in the appraisal and the inspection. And then after you purchase this, it's going to cost you a little under $2,000 a month to live in a property that you own. And when this appreciates over time, when the value goes up, you're going to likely be able to get more in rents. You're going to get principal pay down on your mortgage. You're going to get the appreciation, as I just mentioned. And more importantly, you own an asset that's going to go up in value that you can either trade up to something else later, or you can keep stacking these little chips with the idea of building a portfolio that's going to serve you much better later in life, 10 to 12, 15 years later. Guys, again, my name is Ryan Spath. I'm a local agent and investor here in the Treasure Valley. And if this video is something you want to pursue, if I can help you in any way, whether it be analyze deals, look at properties, etc., please feel free to reach out and send me a DM. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you next week.